Did you get to keep any of the wardrobe you had in this movie? Or?
I actually have the pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter has a pair too, but she actually chose them. She thought they were pretty retro and cool.
Uh-huh.
And Michael said, I love those pants too. Yes, you'll wear those. So
That's kind of digging
now we
the
both
cap.
have, huh?
It's kind of digging the cap.
Oh, really? Yeah, Fuzzy Kango.
Yeah.
I have maybe 7 of them. That was my choice.
How old is your daughter?
14.
She saw the movie?
Not yet. She will.
How do you feel about your daughter watching such violent films? Does that bother you at all? Or?
No, she knows what it is. She's been around this business a long time. In fact, she was on set when we were doing the toll bridge stuff. And by that time, I was a bloody mess. So we were hanging out, and I had blood all over my face and cuts and scrapes. And she was kind of, oh, that's neat. Look at that. So she knows what it is.
She likes it? She wants
Yeah.
to be an actress too?
No. No, she wants to be a PA. Anything that has something that you can talk through to another person, she wants.
What character types do you enjoy playing the most of all of your different types that you play?
I don't have a particular type that I like the most. I'm always trying to find somebody that's interesting, that's very different from the other characters that I portray. I'm really trying to find this like huge, or create this huge body of characters that are all very different. That's just, well, it's what I think the essence of being an actor is. It's not like reinventing yourself over and over again. It's, you know, taking over the bodies of all these different guys and people and just having a good time doing it. The same way I did in theater. Nobody ever asked me to be myself when I was on stage. I don't expect them to do that when I'm doing a film.
Craig Bierko was just talking about
Who?
Craig, the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was just talking about adding a few one-liners and just in the script process. I was wondering, with your character, I really love the keys in my pocket. Is that something that was in the script, or did you?
Yeah, Shane wrote
Yeah.
that he sang to remember
Uh-huh.
things. I just didn't know what the song was.
Yeah.
And I guess because Mitch wasn't written as African American, he didn't quite know how all that worked either. And he had kind of a Mickey Spillane-esque kind of way of speaking. So when I got the role, that had to change because I just embodied him in a whole different kind of way. So those things happened, and it just so happened that the blues was just what popped in my mind. I used to do that a lot too, and that was the one little blues riff that I could always put different words to or make funny phrases out of. And I just kind of popped back into my life.
I was thinking that might help me remember where I put my keys now.
Sometimes, yeah, exactly.
You mentioned the part not being written for an African American. What do you feel about all the new like open casting techniques that they're trying in theater? I mean, how do you feel about that? And do you think it'll trickle into film, or do you think it's ridiculous? Or
I don't know. I don't have a real opinion. I'm not August Wilson here, so. I don't know. Alternative casting in a theater is kind of different from this. You can do it on stage, I guess, and try and have a black father or Asian daughter or all that, but then you got to change the dynamic of the piece also. I mean, you have to explain those things, and when you don't explain them and you expect audiences to suspend their belief of what's going on, then you're like forcing them to take another challenge that they've already taken by coming in to suspend the belief of what's going on anyway. So I don't know how effective that would be. But actors need to work as actors. Just go ahead and let people do what they do.
When you hear things like you've got black cinema where it belongs, the leading edge of American cinema,
Who did that?
someone of the New Yorker.
I did that?
Well, yeah.
Oh, really?
You should have.
Whoa. Okay. I never knew that.
No?
No, I thought that was like, Spike Lee's job and John Singleton's job. I'm just an actor who happens to be in different kinds of films. I haven't done a particularly African-American film in a very long time. Hopefully what I do by doing the things I do is let Hollywood or whoever else know that there are some people out here that have spent time in the theater, spent time in the world learning the craft, and we have a healthy respect for it, and we're actually kind of good at it. That there's some other people out here that can do what I do also, and they should go out there and find those people and, you know, put them to work.
So you don't feel particularly socially engaged?
No, I don't feel like a trailblazer.
Were there any stunts in the film that were particularly memorable or challenging for you?
Yeah, going in that lake's pretty challenging. You ever been in a frozen lake?
Yeah, I actually fell through.
Actually, yeah. So you know what that is.
Oh,
huh?
it's very cold.
Yeah, it's excruciating.
A major headache.
Yeah, that's it. That's
So that
it.
was real?
Oh yeah, the big ice cream headache multiplied by 100. It's incredible. Never felt anything like that in my
You
life.
had to do multiple takes of it, too,
We
right?
only did 3. 3 was enough. We're like,
And what did you do right after that?
I don't have one of those. Oh, okay. Huh?
What did you do right after that to warm up, basically, or to
Actually,
get
there
your
was
mind back together?
Did they put gel on you or something?
No. They had the stunt set up pretty well. There was they cut this hole in the ice, and the hole itself, the ice itself was maybe like 4.5, 5 feet, and they cut it, and then they put I guess a little jacuzzi spa down in there so we wouldn't go too deep in the lake because it was a lake. And off camera was a hot tub that we would get into, steaming, blazing hot tub. We'd get in this hot tub and they'd roll the cameras, we'd get out of the hot tub, go across the ice, get in the water, really count down, 3, 2, 1, we go under, count 1, 2, 3, come up, crazed, and crawl out and go right back in the hot tub while they watch the monitors. Oh, we can do that better. Okay, we gotta do it again. So we did that 3 times and that was it. Only took us about 2 hours.
How do you psych yourself up for that first shot, knowing that you're going to go? And how far did you drop?
Drop?
How far did you, when you
Oh,
went to
you mean coming out the window or going in the water?
go in the water?
Oh, the hot
Yeah,
tub was
it's-
only about
yeah.
4.5
How
feet.
far did you,
Oh, we didn't. We just, well, the drop shot was done
right?
the first week of shooting, coming out the window. And we didn't get in the lake for like 6 weeks after that. They kept telling us we were going to do it. Gina and I kept thinking we were going to some studio and they were going to put paraffin on a pool and we'd jump in it and the camera would be under there. And they kept saying, no, you're going in a lake. We was like, yeah, right, yeah. And sure enough, one day they said, tomorrow, we finally found the lake. You're going in. Oh, no. They're serious.
You just mentioned that you would like to have like a lot of different roles
Mhm.
and body of work. What about as far as directors go? You work with so many directors, especially recently with Tarantino. What do you expect from them? What do you think a good director should have? And especially when they act.
Well, I think a good director should have a good DP. They should have a clear and concise idea of what they're trying to do and where they're going in the story. They should trust and respect our process. They hired us for a reason. They should let us do what we do. We should all sit down and figure out one path for this character to go so that you don't end up with 3 different films in one film. And just trust the process.
Craig Bierko said he had a fear of heights. Do you have any fears or phobias? Or?
Mm-mm. No.
So how different was with Tarantino compared with other directors?
Was who?
This process. How different was the process working with Tarantino comparing with other directors?
Well, Quentin's like a kid in a candy store. He's very different from most directors that you work with. In that, well, he has this whole reference library of films in his head, and he's essentially taking shots from other films and putting them together to make one film. And he can explain a shot to you that way. So if you've ever seen the Rio Lobo, and this is the opening shot from the John Wayne so and so and so and so, and we're going from that to that shot in Yojimbo where it was so and so and so, and then we're going from that to Singing in the Rain shot where you do the feet and then we come back up and we're in that last shot from this other film, da da da, and you kind of go, okay. If you've seen all those films, you know what that is. If you haven't, you don't quite know, but that's how he explains it. And it works out that way, and he's, having a great time. He's like an audience member, making a movie instead of a guy who's sitting there clinically, kind of watching the monitor, trying to see if the shot's working or whatever. He's a lot more concerned with the performances. He asked someone else about the shot.
Working with, working with Rennie and Gina, could you tell that you were working with a married couple?
Yeah, all the time. Well, because we spent so much time in those cars, Gina and I would be together in the car, and there was always a speaker there that we could talk to Rennie because he was off on the truck watching us and whatever. And if he would say cut, and she would go, "Oh, Rennie, how was that?" He said, "It was wonderful, my pumpkin. You know." Well, I'd like to do another one. Oh, you can definitely have another one, my dear. You know, we will shoot you until you are very satisfied. Thank you, Rennie. I love you. I love you too, pumpkin. I'm there in the car. Jesus, what's going on here? Who are these people, and why are they so in love? But yeah, that's one real way to tell it.
There's a lot of stories written about Time to Kill. Some people thought that the Mississippi in the 90s was a lot like the Mississippi in the 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you read any of that stuff?
Yeah.
After the,
Yeah.
what
I
did you
read the
think?
backlash to
Yeah.
that film. Yeah. The basic problem with most of those commentaries is that they don't understand that John Grisham wrote a story for whatever time he wrote it, and all we did was shoot the story that he wrote. Nobody's saying that Mississippi is like that right now, or that folks having a problem trying to figure out, well, what time period is this? You know, it's any old time period. I mean, the fact that somebody's out there burning those churches right now means that there is no time period. It's not spontaneous combustion, and like everybody wants to believe. Well, the world's not like that anymore. Well, the world's like that for a lot of different kinds of people in a lot of different places, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Mississippi or anywhere else. That's one story about one particular incident that has nothing to do with changing the social fabric of America right now. It's just a story. We're storytellers. People tell stories all the time, and they should understand that we're not trying to tell the world that that's how it is in Mississippi. Mississippi is, yes, Mississippi's progressive. So is Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Wisconsin, Iowa. But things happen. And they happen all over this country for whatever reason. So people still have that same mindset somewhere. And this is just a story about some people who have that mindset. It's not, you know, taken from a true story from the pages of newspapers yesterday. No, it's not all that. It's just a story to get over.
What is the most challenging scene you've ever done that you can recall?
In my life?
In a film, in a feature?
Gee, I don't know. I just did a film where I was playing Russian roulette. Just, you know, kind of challenging in a very real.
What was
kind
that
of
film?
way. 187 film that just
Can
finished.
you comment on the film? What's it about?
Oh, it's about a school teacher who kind of unravels in the system because the kids harass him and he wants to teach and he can't because he's spending too much time, you know, fighting for his life in the classroom.
Set here in LA?
Yeah, it starts in New York. He's a school teacher in New York who fails a kid who's on probation, who needs to pass a class to get off probation. The teacher doesn't know it, and the kid stabs him 12 times and almost kills him. And he moves from New York to LA and goes back in the system, and they put him in a school with these gang kids, and these gang kids start to threaten him and all that. So.
What else is in the film? Who's directing?
Kevin Reynolds directed the film. And who else is in it? John Hurd and Kelly Rowe. The rest of them are pretty much unknown kids.
Sounds exactly like a movie you said he wanted to make it before everyone said.
Yes.
Are
Get
you
back to the old days.
Are you looking forward to working with Rennie again on U.S. Marshals?
He's not doing U.S. Marshals.
Oh, he's not?
No, he's doing some science fiction thing.
In the movie,
Neither am I. Yeah.
in the movie, your character is some kind of fragile, you know, and you don't surely look like fragile. Where do you find the inspiration? Or
Well, Mitch is like a guy who carries a lot of false bravado around him. I mean, he has very little self-confidence. He's been damaged by his prison experience and his relationship with his wife and his ex-wife and son aren't the best of things in the world. So the interesting thing about this film is that you have this huge action picture, and you have these two people, one who's trying to find out who she is, and another guy who's actually growing up during the process of this film and finding out who he is and what he can really do, and finding out that he's not really worthless and as incompetent as he believes he is. And I think that's the wonderful thing about this film, that you have two people in here that you can actually care about. Because a lot of times you watch movies like this, and the people whose names are above the title, say Bruce Willis or Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever, you can sit there and watch the film, and when they're in jeopardy, they're not in jeopardy. All you know is, well, something great's going to happen now. They are going to escape from this in some spectacular kind of way. But in this film, I actually think that you can sit there and watch Gina and I get in trouble and think sometimes maybe we aren't going to make it, or one or the other of us isn't going to make it. And that's what makes for an exciting, watch sometimes. But Mitch is vulnerable. He's been damaged in some very real kinds of ways by himself and by other people. And if I was to play the reality of that, I mean, I don't want to be this, tough macho kind of guy who's not affected by things. And people don't react that way. And I'm always trying to imbue my characters with real human characteristics and values, so that an audience member sitting there watching them can say, oh yeah, I would have done that, or I know somebody who would react that way, or I would react that way. I don't want it to be, too far away from the reality of
Would
the
you say it's the opposite, Mitch, the opposite of yourself? So you would be...
No, not totally. I mean, I have some feelings. No, he's not totally opposite of me. I have a lot of self-confidence, yeah, but I mean, there are times when I doubt myself. Well, let directors make me think I'm doubting myself.
How do you feel about Bob Dole speaking out against the entertainment industry glorifying violence and drugs in film? How do you feel about those comments?
When's the last time you think Bob Dole actually saw a movie? Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, he didn't see either of the movies that he was making those comments about the other day. And it's for sure he never saw True Lies, if he thought that was a film with great family values.
Yeah.
So I don't even think about Bob Dole, in terms of what we do and how we do it or whatever. This business has always been what it is, and there are certain staples that have run through this business forever. There used to be the Western, there used to be the cop drama, there used to be the high adventure, which was, swashbuckling, Zorro, all that kind of stuff. Now we have, the big action story. We got the aliens attacking all the time. Those are the big action stories. We still got the cop drama. Christmas for me wasn't Christmas unless I got some guns when I was a kid, And we shot each other, and we had a good time. We played cowboys and Indians. We played war. We played cops and robbers. We played house with the girls. We did everything. Now, when I'm doing a film like this, it's like the big cops and robbers game, except now when I shoot somebody, they got a big squib on them, and I hit them, they explode, and they can't say, you missed me. They got to fall down, and when I get shot, I explode. It's high kid drama. It's big time kid games. People don't go out and imitate that on a real level. People who have social problems have social problems because of what's going on in their lives or at home. They don't go to movies and say, hey, I think I want to go out and shoot somebody and see their chest explode like that. No, because it doesn't work that way. This is, this is fantasy. And if he doesn't understand that, then, he doesn't deserve to be president. Like he's going to win anyway.
Are you happy with the career, your career, how it's going and how it went, and do you want to change anything now? I mean, like, you want to do more, like, small films, or more, like, independent films, or keep doing...
No, I just want to, I take things as they come. I read a lot of scripts on a weekly basis, and I guess over a period of a month, I might see 3 good ones. I never ask if it's a studio film or if it's an independent film. I'm reading the story, trying to see if me or Sam would pay $7.50 to go and see that story. That's the most important thing for me right now, because I am still an audience member. I pay my money. I go to the movies, and I want to see a good story. I don't care who's in it. It doesn't matter about the stars. That's my first criteria. Second thing is I want the character to be somebody who's interesting, who will help me as an actor and artist grow in some way, become better, and will add some really unique and interesting character to this, body of characters that I've created already. And if I can continue to do that, I'll be fine. That's my biggest challenge right now, finding things that are interesting. Because I think I owe an audience that. When people see my name on a marquee, I think they expect to come in and see an interesting character, number one, and a good story, number two, because I actually try and pick things that I would pay my money to go and see, and I have that responsibility. That's it. Not to make the most money I can. That's kind of easy to do. I can do a lot of bad stuff for that.
Do you think the quality of the scripts you're getting now, how they are compared with things that you were doing 10 years ago?
The difference between now and 10 and 15 years ago, 10 and 15 years ago, I would get a script that somebody was doing. They already had the above the line people hired, and I was going in and I would read a part, and I'd go to 5 of those a week and I'd get a job. And it didn't matter to me if the movie was going to be good, bad, or otherwise, because I was just trying to get a job. And that was fine for me. I was going in, do this job, do the best I can, hopefully meet these people, they'll hire me again, or I'll learn something because I'm on a movie set. Now, the responsibility is very different. The scripts aren't that different. People still send you the same kind of formula scripts. You can turn 3 pages and go, okay, I know what's going to happen next, okay. Yep, okay, now next will happen, yeah, and you follow it, because people write scripts like that. Every now and then, something new and different will come along, or the story will be so interesting that it is a formula, yes, but they've done something to make the formula interesting. So, no, I don't see a lot of great things. I just see what's out there.
What was it in the script that made the formula interesting for you?
The fact that you had these 2 people inside this thing that you could care about, that was very different. And the fact that you had this female hero who was tough yet sensitive and on a real interesting kind of quest. Because no matter what happens, when she finds out she's Charlene Baltimore and she takes on that persona, she's got Mitch there saying, I don't know if that's who you really are, even though you found out who you really are. So let's kind of deal with that. So she's still in this great dilemma, and he's still there trying to help her do it. And at the same time, not even realizing that he's growing and changing at the same time. And that's interesting drama to me. And all this other stuff around is kind of like fun to see and do, but the stuff inside that's very good.
Your opening scene in Long Kiss, you barge in through the door with the gun. Was that, were you conscious of the jewels parallel there?
Not while I was doing it. No.
When you saw it?
I thought it was another good speech. Yeah.
Are there any celebrities you would like to work with that you haven't worked with thus far in your career?
Yeah, Chow Yun-fat, actually. Yeah. I'd like to work with some of those great Hong Kong actors and some of the directors too.